there's a major shift building up in Formula One, the kind that makes everyone stop and take notice. George Russell and Max Verstappen are at the center of this storm, but there's another name making waves too, Sebastian Vettel, and guess what? A lot of it connects back to Cadillac. With a fresh set of regulations coming in, fans and teams are holding their breath. The spotlight is now on the two available seats at Cadillac, and a familiar face may just be filling one of them. Bottas, the man with 10 race wins and a sharp tongue, has become the center of speculation. Ever since stepping away from the sport, his name keeps popping up in comeback rumors. This time, it's serious. Cadillac is setting up something big. With 2 spots open and a strong interest and experience, Bottas checks all the boxes. He's got proven results. From 2017 to 2021, he never missed Q3 while racing for Mercedes. And don't forget, he's also well-versed in Ferrari engines. Having spent 3 seasons with them, even Bottas couldn't ignore the buzz. Recently, he dropped a subtle hint in a video where he spoke about a seat while sitting in a Cadillac SUV. It didn't take long for fans to start connecting the dots. Sure, he had other chances, NASCAR, WEC, more, but like many drivers who still crave Formula One, he chose to stay connected to the grid in whatever way possible. Serving as a reserve driver for Mercedes gave him a new role, helping young driver Antonelli adapt quickly. But now that there's a real opportunity to return full-time, Bottas seems ready to make his move. As for that second seat at Cadillac, it's still wide open, and everyone's watching closely. The general idea is that Cadillac might follow a path similar to Audi's strategy, pair a seasoned driver with a young talent full of promise. If that's the case, names like Mick Schumacher and Felipe Drugovich are expected to be strong contenders. Both have shown signs of growth and potential, and either could bring a fresh spark alongside Bottas. That of course puts pressure on other hopefuls, especially Sergio Perez. Perez has built a strong fan base in the United States and has the results to back it up. But in a situation where only 2 seats are available, it's hard to predict anything for certain. Still, a lineup featuring Bottas and Perez wouldn't be a bad option at all. Both drivers are under 40 and still have plenty to offer in terms of skill and experience. Together, they could give Cadillac a solid foundation as the team enters a new era. Meanwhile, another storyline has started grabbing more attention, one involving Max Verstappen and Mercedes. Max, now a 4-time world champion, holds incredible leverage in the sport, and behind the scenes, Mercedes is playing a careful game. They're not rushing to renew George Russell's contract, and the reason is simple. They're keeping an eye on Verstappen's situation at Red Bull if things start to fall apart over there. Mercedes wants to be ready. On paper, Max Verstappen is tied to Red Bull until 2028, but there are conditions in that agreement, and if the car fails to meet his expectations, he could walk away sooner. That's exactly the scenario Mercedes is hoping for. Any sign of instability at Red Bull could open the door for Verstappen to leave, and if that happens, Mercedes won't hesitate. Team boss Toto Wolff is already prepared to make a strong offer, even if it means parting ways with George Russell. Russell knows where he stands. In interviews, he's made it clear, no resentment, just realism. When a driver of Max's caliber becomes available, every top team will be interested. And Russell understands that, but it still puts him in a tough spot. Mercedes is also grooming young talent like Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who's shown flashes of brilliance despite being new to the scene. The truth is simple, there's not enough space for everyone. If Verstappen joins, Russell may be the odd one out. Though Russell has openly supported the idea of racing alongside Max, the bigger picture suggests he could be replaced if Verstappen becomes a real option. Toto Wolff has even addressed this, making strong statements about what he expects from drivers. According to him, everyone from the mechanics to the drivers plays a part in the team's success, and if anyone puts their own interests above the group, they won't last long at Mercedes. So now, the question about George Russell's future becomes more urgent. Reports suggest he's already had informal talks with Christian Horner, not about switching teams directly, but about what might happen if Mercedes and Verstappen decide to work together. In that case, Russell could find himself without a seat at Mercedes, but he might not be without options for long. Aston Martin is reportedly watching this situation very closely. Based at Silverstone, the team sees Russell as a strong candidate to lead them into the next era under the updated regulations. And it makes sense if Verstappen isn't available, you go after the next best option. Rumors linking Charles Leclerc to a Ferrari exit were quickly shut down, which leaves Russell as the most realistic choice for a team looking to build something serious. This wouldn't be a step down for Russell either. Aston Martin has quietly made big progress behind the scenes. They've upgraded their facilities, hired skilled personnel, and made key strategic partnerships. Perhaps the biggest move? Signing Honda as their exclusive engine supplier starting in 2026? That alone gives them a major edge. With the tools now in place, Aston Martin is aiming higher, and someone like Russell could be the driver to take them there. When asked about his future, Russell didn't shy away from the uncertainty. He admitted that nothing is guaranteed, and while he isn't in talks with any other teams just yet, he's well aware of the attention he's getting across the paddock. Still, his message remains clear. He wants to continue with Mercedes. The team gave him his first real opportunity in Formula One, and for that, he remains grateful. But Russell also understands how the business works. With all the buzz around Max Verstappen, it's natural for teams to keep their options open. Russell even acknowledged that if every team had a chance to sign Max, they probably would. There's no bitterness, just a recognition of how valuable Verstappen is in today's grid. It's rare to hear a driver speak so openly about being potentially replaced, but Russell's honest approach has earned him respect. Elsewhere, another young name is starting to turn heads. Arvid Lindblad. Red Bull recently put him through his first round of F1 testing under TPC regulations and EMA, and the early signs were promising. He impressed enough that discussions are already underway about speeding up his move into a race seat. If that happens, it could bring big consequences for other drivers. Currently in the Red Bull system, Arvid Lindblad's progress could be the turning point for Red Bull's future plans. The young talent has already made a name for himself in Formula 2, becoming the youngest to grab pole position, win a sprint race, and take the top spot in a feature race. With credentials like that, it's no surprise that Red Bull is seriously considering promoting him, but that raises a serious question. What happens to Yuki Tsunoda? Despite receiving support from Red Bull figures like Dr. Helmut Marko, Tsunoda's performance hasn't met expectations. His teammate Isak has already doubled his points tally in just the opening races, putting pressure on Tsunoda's seat. And while Hajar might not be fully ready for a full-time promotion yet, Lindblad certainly seems to be. If Red Bull calls, Arvid won't hesitate, and that could mark the end of Tsunoda's Formula One career. Meanwhile, there's one more surprising story developing in the background, the possible return of Sebastian Vettel, not as a driver, but in a leadership role. With Marko now in his 80s, Vettel is being seen as a potential replacement. The four-time world champion has spoken warmly about the idea, saying he's still in touch with Red Bull, and that conversations are ongoing, though nothing is confirmed. It's clear that changes are coming. So, with the driver market heating up, Verstappen's situation causing a domino effect, and young stars knocking at the door, Formula One is gearing up for a season full of unpredictable twists. The big question now is, who will make the boldest move next?